Good morning. Today is Saturday, May 11th, and we have one birthday today. Today is Mandy Bloom's birthday. So Mandy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mandy. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha. Well, I hope you have a great birthday because you're celebrating all by yourself today. It's a rainy, rainy day. I couldn't see them in my neighborhood, but last night they had the Northern Lights going on. And all around me, people were posting on Facebook. And they were close by where I live. But I would go out there and I wouldn't see diddly squat. So I know that they were out there. Most of the things that you could see were closer to the lake. I'm about a mile and a half from the lake. I just didn't feel like driving down there to look at them. I should have probably. When I was in Alaska, we had a chance to see the Northern Lights, but we never did. We never saw any Northern Lights, which I was kind of bummed about. There was one night that we said that the captain had said that we have a really good, strong possibility of seeing them, and then all of a sudden, some kind of a cloudy situation appeared, and so we didn't get to see any. So I was a little bummed. I did see some whales spouting, but none breaching. Did see a couple dolphins on the side of the ship. And like I said, we saw some eagles. But it was pretty cool. It really was pretty cool. I don't know that you get jet lag coming home or going. I don't know. I had no problem adapting to the different time zones. When we got to Seattle, we were 3 hours behind. Settled right in. I was fine. Then we went to Alaska. We went 4 hours behind. Settled in. I was fine. Now we're back home. My internal clock is just not cooperating. Let me tell you, I am just beyond exhausted. I have lots of laundry to do, and I'm helping Mary with her laundry too, since she can't get around as well. She's on a walker. Right now, she had an appointment to get her hair cut and then to get some new glasses. I know I told you that I was going to get my glasses when I got back. I was going to get those blue ones. I do still plan on getting them at some point this year, but I went cray-cray on the souvenirs and spent way more money than I intended. Very easy to do. But I bought myself a couple sweatshirts, a couple shirts, bought myself a hat, bought souvenirs for everybody. So I spent my fill of money. I don't even want to add up how much this trip cost. Someone had asked me if first class was worth the money. Coming back, it was worth the money. After sitting in the airport for 13 hours, it was definitely worth the money. I just needed to be comfortable. You know, you can only be comfortable so long in the chairs. There was a lot of, I felt, rude people at the airport that they were laying down across 3 or 4 seats, taking a nap, while people were walking around looking for a place to sit. I already had a place to sit, so I was fine. But I'm thinking if I was one of those travelers and I saw somebody laying down, I would be waking them up and saying, sleep sitting up, I want to sit down. But nobody did. So I guess. And I would have thought they would have had more charging stations. They had a few, but not as many as I thought they should have had. Because now they have to invent a phone that lasts more than a day with the battery. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm on my phone a lot because they do a lot of filming and stuff like that, but it was like, the highlight of my trip, I mean, my favorite city was by far Ketchikan. I always say Kirchner, but it's Ketchikan. My favorite city of the three. We went to Juneau, Skagway, and Ketchikan. Now, Skagway, when we took the train, that was awesome. It was beautiful. It really was. So it's kind of hard to pick one, but if I would pick Ketchikan as my first. Skagway is a very, 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 very close second. And Juneau, I really wasn't that impressed with. I know it's the capital of Alaska. I really wasn't that impressed with it. It just, there was like a gazillion million, everywhere you went, every dock we went into was jewelry stores because the cruise ships own part of the jewelry stores. Go figure. But there were tons of jewelry stores no matter where we went. But I didn't see as many, not to say that they weren't there, in Ketchikan. Ketchikan was more of a friendly resort town as far as I'm concerned, and by far my favorite place. So if I only had to go to one place in Alaska, Ketchikan would be the one I would pick. But I had a good time, I really did. So the highlight of the trip was we went to see, I mean, there were so many highlights, but one of my favorite highlights was we went to see, he wasn't an impersonator, but he sang Beatles music. He had a full hour of 45 minutes of singing Beatles songs. And he was really good. He was really, really good. He didn't try to impersonate them. He just sang them like he sang them. But excellent performer. And then at one point in the show, he was asking for requests, and people were throwing out their requests that they wanted to hear and that. So this is also going to lead to the low point of the trip. So the high point was going to see him. And then Jim, when we left, what we did was we always went to the late show together. What we did every morning, we had breakfast together and we had dinner together. And then during the day, we all scattered and did whatever we wanted. The only exception being that we ate breakfast on our own was when we were in ports, like when we were in Juneau or Skagway or Ketchikan, because we all had different excursions that we were going to do at different times. So for those 3 days, we didn't get together. But for 4 days, we always got together for dinner, all 7 days. But those 3 days, no, I take that back. One day we didn't get together for dinner because they went to the Pinnacle Grill, which we didn't go to. So for 6 days, we all had dinner together, and 4 days, we all had breakfast together. That particular morning, Jim wasn't feeling well, so I went to breakfast without Jim. That'll get to the low point of the trip. But so anyway, we went to I know I'm scattering. I'm still so tired. I'm just still so tired that the show was over. Everybody dispersed to where they were going to go. Jim and I usually just went back to the cabin, watched a little bit of TV. Jim went to bed, and then I would read. And they had a library on the ship, so I got a book that, at first when I got the book, I know, Sandy, stay on track. I must have ADH or ADD or whatever. I've got something going on, I'm telling you. But the first couple chapters, it was so boring. And then I even told Lynn, I said, this book is so beyond boring, and I don't even want to try to get another one. But then it got really interesting, and I really liked it. It was called The Ninth Man. It was about the Kennedy assassination, but I didn't know that at the beginning of the book. It got very good. Anyway, back to the story. So Jim went to go to the bathroom, and I was standing there waiting by the elevator, and then just then comes the performer out to get on the elevator to go back to his room. And I said, I really, really loved the show. I said, you did such a fantastic job. You did the Beatles justice. Nobody can ever say that you crapped up any of their songs. They were really good. And he says, oh, I really appreciate that. I like hearing from people that I did a good job. I said, but I do have one complaint. And then he looked, well, really? Well, you just said I was good. And I says, you were really good. I said, but you didn't play my favorite song when I asked you to play my favorite song. And he says, oh, I didn't hear you. What was your favorite song? And I said, it's She's Leaving Home. He says, oh my gosh, I didn't play that, did I? And I said, no, you didn't. He stopped and took his guitar out of the case and played the entire song for me and sang just to me, because I was the only one at the elevator. I had a solo performance. And then Jim come around the corner. So it was like, oh my gosh. I said, you missed it, Jim. I had a private concert. And then his name was Jesse Caperton. Never heard of him. He must just be a cruise ship guy. But he was so good. And then he packed up his stuff and left. It was like, I don't know, it was really kind of cool. But then the low point of the trip was that particular morning, Jim had eaten something the night before that didn't agree with him. So he was up all night, not feeling well. And in the morning, he said, I just don't feel like going to breakfast. I'm just not feeling well. And I said, oh, okay, fine. So I went to breakfast and walked around the ship. If you walk around the deck 2.5 times, it's a mile. I did that once. One and done. I should have done it more often, but I did it one and done. And then I came back to the room, and he was sound asleep. So I just read. And then he woke up about 1 o'clock, and he said, I'm getting kind of hungry. Why don't we go down and I can get something to eat? Okay, now the man has spent most of the last 12 hours in the bathroom. So we go down there to get something to eat, and I'm thinking he's going to pick something light. So I'm sitting at the table watching, looking out at the ocean. And does he not come back with a hot dog with crispy onion ring chips, like when they put those crispy onion things on top. What are they called? Not twists. You know what I'm talking about. They're like little onion things. And ketchup, mustard, and relish. And French fries. Okay, he's having, well, first of all, a hot dog. But anyway, but with onions and onion straws. That's what they're called, onion straws. Onions and onion straws. And French fries. So obviously he had to use the restroom. So he said, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And I said, okay. So I'm sitting there and I was looking out the window. And he left at 1:45. And then this nice couple sat down there from Australia. And we were talking. You know, I could talk to the wall. So we were talking back and forth. And then they got up to leave. And I look at my watch. And now it's 25 after 2. And Jim's still not back. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, where could he be? I don't know where he could be. And, but I didn't want to get up and leave because Jim gets lost very easily on the ship. And I was afraid if I left, he wouldn't find me back. And I couldn't call him because the man never brings his phone with him. He left it on the table. Oh, I was just so annoyed. And so then I asked the steward, because Jim has heart problems anyhow. He takes medication for his heart. And Elvis died on the toilet. and not that I thought that, at that point, yeah, he'd been gone 45 minutes. My first thought was he had a heart attack and he's laying in the bathroom floor. Nobody is going to come in because, you know, it's like one of those single bathrooms. So I saw a steward and I asked him if he'd go and look in the restroom to see if he was in there. And so the steward went and there was nobody in the restroom. So he says, there's nobody in there. And I said, oh, okay. Just then Sarah had come walking by, which is my cousin's. We never know how that goes. First or second removed. I got to take this right back. So anyway, so Sarah comes by and I says, could you do me a favor? Could you go and see if by chance Jim went down to the cabin? And I explained about, you know, him leaving the phone and all that. So she says, yeah, sure. So I gave her my room key. And when she was going, she passed her dad, Dale. And so Dale went and looked. And yeah, Jim was in there. He was having his issues again. He did start to come back up to tell me that he was going to stay in the room. But at some point, there was an issue with the elevators, and so they had made an announcement that the elevators were going to be shut down for 10 minutes while they repaired whatever it was they were doing. I don't know. But they obviously, the stairwells, which are right next to the elevators, are open. But our deck, we were sleeping on the 3rd deck, and I was up on the 8th deck, and that's quite a haul. So he didn't even try to, which I'm thankful for. He didn't even try to walk up there. But my mind was racing, let me tell you. I was just so worried about him. But then by dinner time, he was fine. And then the rest of the cruise, he was fine. So, I don't know. It had to have been something he ate or something. We never ate the same things. So I don't know what he ate that didn't agree with him. But I never got sick. That's all that matters. Such a nice wife. Such a nice wife. But, yeah, so those are my highlights and my lowlights of the trip. One of the other lowlights is sitting 13 hours in the airport. Oh, I meant to tell you yesterday when I was talking about it, the reason we sat for 13 hours in the airport was the 11:45 at night was the only direct flight to Detroit. There was a flight out of Vancouver at 12:30 in the afternoon, but then it landed in, where did it go? Somewhere in, I think it was Denver, and then it had a 2-hour layover in Denver, and then it transferred over to Chicago, and then there was a 3 or 4 hour layover there, and then it would get into the Detroit Metropolitan Airport at 3 in the morning. So it was like a 14-hour day driving on the plane, whereas opposed to mine was like an 18-hour, but at least I wasn't getting off a plane, getting on a plane, getting off, then dragging your luggage, you know, your carry-on to the other terminals and stuff like that. We opted for the knowing that we'd have to wait. At the time we booked the tickets, we were planning on doing some kind of a tour of Vancouver. Also, we were going to rent a locker to put our luggage in, but the locker was $75 for 4 pieces of luggage for 2 hours. And I thought, oh, I'm not paying $75 just so you could hold my luggage. No. But all in all, great time. Great time. So anyway, that's going to do it for today. So like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll share more tomorrow. I'm still working on doing the video with the pictures. I don't know when it'll come, but it'll come. So talk to you soon.